You're going to hear a new, a unique, and I believe accurate revelation explaining the mark of the beast. I can tell you, I have never heard this before. Hello, Sid Roth here with L.A. Marzulli in L.A. I am so intrigued with these people that are being interviewed that say they've been abducted. Tell me about this doctor you spoke to, Dr. Lear, who started out as a skeptic of this whole phenomena. He's a surgeon.
Yes.
Tell me about him.
Well, Lear was asked by a friend to go in and look at this patient who claimed to have some sort of a implant or whatever, something under his skin. And, you know, first Lear just figured it was probably a wire or maybe a BB from childhood accident or something. But when he found out that the person was claiming to have been abducted by so-called aliens, he did an about-face and walked out of the room. Didn't want anything to do with this stuff. And in some ways, who could blame him? So he goes in reluctantly. He's sort of persuaded to come back and at least just look at the thing. Looks at the x-rays. Yes, there seems to be something there. So he decides to operate. He goes in. And to his absolute astonishment, what he discovers is a very small metallic implant. But over this implant, and this is obviously a magnification, I'll use my fist, is a secretion, a membrane of some sort. And he takes his scalpel and he tries to cut this membrane and he can't cut it. He then takes a forceps and goes in and yanks this thing out. And it comes out sometimes, he's done 16 of these things since, but it comes out sometimes in 2 or 3 pieces. What he's discovered is when you take these things out and you put them in a petri dish of the patient's blood, and you just let them, and the pieces are, let's say, separated by a half an inch or an inch. Come back 24, 40 hours later, the pieces have tried to assemble themselves. How is that possible? These implants are giving out a clock speed of a frequency, which we believe is a sawtooth, which means it's a computer wave. It's a clock speed at 300 gigahertz, which is 100 times faster than the fastest computer we have on the planet. Inside these things are carbon nanotubes not found in nature. And other compartments, we have no idea what they're doing. But I asked Lear, I said, in your professional opinion, what do you think this implant is? And in sort of a gruff, and I'll do my best imitation, he goes, well, it's changing the person's DNA. But that's what he believes. And that
Did you hear that? It's literally going to change a person's DNA. This sounds way beyond robots and way beyond any science fiction things I've ever seen. What is the source, in your opinion? Are there really flying saucers?
Well, there's 2 paradigms a person can embrace. One is the extraterrestrial hypothesis, that these are entities from the Pleiadian star system or Zeta Reticuli, or, you know, pick your poison, and they're coming here. They are our overlords. I call it the coming great deception, that they've decided to, that they created all life on this planet. They genetically manipulated early man. They started our civilizations. Now they're back at this critical juncture in human history to usher mankind into a time of peace, prosperity,
okay,
and
the
knowledge.
science fiction people go that way.
Right. The New Ages go that way.
All right. What's your
I believe that they're interdimensional beings. They are highly malevolent. They are pernicious. They are evil. They have an agenda. It goes back to what we read in the book of Genesis, Genesis 6. The sons of God, the Benai Elohim, the fallen angels, saw the daughters of men. It chose for them wives, and the hybrid was a Nephilim. Isn't it interesting that Yeshua says, as in the days of Noah, so it will be when the Son of Man returns? Why is he signaling the days of Noah to us? Why is he pointing to the days of Noah? Because something happened there that is unlike any other time in all of history, and that is the presence of the fallen angels openly presenting themselves on the earth, and I think we're moving into that time.
You've investigated, so I don't think there's ever been a time in planet Earth there's been so many different supernatural phenomena, and most people have not seen the evil or the good, the God or the demonic. So they're setting themselves up for a big fall. He has an understanding of the mark of the beast I have never heard before, and it rings true. I think it's historic what you're going to share. Will you do that right now?
I'd love to. Thank you for allowing me to do this. We see in Matthew 24, Yeshua states something, as in the days of Noah, so it will be when the Son of Man returns. alluded to that before. What differentiates those days are the presence of the fallen angels. But there's also some other dynamics in that passage which we overlook. One of them in particular is the length of lifespan. 5, 6, 7, 900 years old people lived, and I believe that's literal. They lived to 900 years or older, okay? Hold that thought, then jump over to the book of Revelation. It says, and we all get this one, that anyone who takes this mark will not be able to buy, sell, or trade. That's an easy one, right? But then we find out that anyone who takes this mark, whatever this thing is, grievous sores will appear over the body. Then we find out in the book of Revelation also, anyone who takes the mark is immediately thrown into the lake of fire. There's no grace. There's no mercy. It's just, you've got the mark, bam, you're in a lake of fire. Not my words. Those are the words of Yeshua, and those are in the book of Revelation. A little further on, we read something which is not necessarily tied into the mark of the beast, but here's the deal. It says that in those days, the days of the mark, men and women will seek death and not find it. How can that possibly be? I've held the chip from Dr. Lear in my hand. I've asked him point blank, what is this thing doing? It's changing the DNA. This thing, and this is how they're going to do it.
This is the chip that
This is
people
the
that
chip.
go into flying saucers have the surgery.
These are the
come back.
prototypes.
By the way, did this doctor find that these people were loonies?
No, not at all. All these people that have been abducted, most of them, I would say well over 90%, do not want any notoriety. In fact, they seek anonymity. They're not interested in any type of publicity. They just want the thing out.
Why doesn't the U.S. reveal all the information they have on flying saucers? Other nations have done it.
Well, the other nations have done it. Greece, the United Kingdom, France, Belgium, Germany, Japan, Mexico, Brazil. They've all released, I should say, what were at one time top secret documents. We don't do it, and I think the reason is simply this. They fear some sort of a backlash, religious backlash. What happens if people all of a sudden find out that maybe the God we've all believed in isn't? This is what I call, said, the coming great deception. And I believe it's been orchestrated for thousands of years.
Let's go back to this changing the DNA.
Okay.
Why would someone want a chip inside of them?
Here's the scenario. Let's say there's a war, upcoming war in the Middle East, and we see some sort of a nuclear holocaust. Remember, this is just a scenario, okay? So we see a nuclear event in the Middle East, perhaps in this country, and all of a sudden, mile-wide UFOs begin to manifest, begin to appear all over this planet. How is that going to affect everyone? But they'll come with two things. They'll come with a free energy source, and they will come with a chip, and this goes right back into what Matthew 24 states. They will come with this implant, which when you take it, will bring you into, as a member of the New World Order, okay? And when they scan this thing, not only will have its medical records, but it will change and correct your DNA. That's what we'll be told.
So in other words, you'll live longer, I
You'll
guess.
live to 500 years disease-free.
Woo.
All this.
So who's going to say no? Only
That's my
someone
point.
that knows the Lord.
Exactly.
Only. And you can see why they'd be enemies of the,
Absolutely.
of the
We'd
world.
be looked at as Neanderthals. How can you possibly believe in this ridiculous mythos of a Judeo-Christian God? Why not just take this mark and live disease-free for 500 years? It sounds like a great deal. And I've held it in my hand, and this is what I think it's coming, and it's the only thing which fulfills all that criteria which we just spoke about that's found in the book of Revelation.
And as far as timing, isn't it interesting in this whole scenario of what we see shaping up right now of the nations coming against Israel
Sure.
is on the horizon with Obama's name in the secret code? It shows you how soon it'll be that the Messiah is going to return.